My parents tried to rewrite my medical records so I'd carry my sister's child. Growing up in Portland, my sister Rachel was everything my parents ever wanted. Smart, athletic, and adored. I was the accident. The child who arrived 2 years later with a congenital heart defect that nearly killed me before I turned 3. My grandparents covered every medical expense, but my parents never let me forget how much of a financial setback I was. Do you know how many vacations we missed because of your surgeries? My dad once said when I was 10. Every milestone I reached was ignored, while Rachel's smallest achievements turned into family events. She got a celebration for making varsity soccer. When I won a state writing competition, my parents didn't even show up. Rachel had practiced that day. When I was 13, she shoved me down the stairs because I accidentally touched her art project. I ended up with bruises all over my leg. My mother's only comment was, "You really need to be more careful around Rachel's things." That was my childhood in one sentence. I left for college on the other side of the country the first chance I got. With my grandparents out, I built a life far away. I met my husband, Ethan, and despite doctors' warnings, I got pregnant. The pregnancy nearly killed me. Weeks in the ICU, bleeding, heart failure. Doctors were clear afterward another pregnancy would be fatal. 13 years passed without a word from my parents. Then, out of nowhere, they called last week, saying they needed to talk about something important. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet. They handed me an envelope, a surrogacy contract. Rachel couldn't conceive, and they wanted me to carry her child. They had already consulted doctors, hired lawyers, and drawn up papers like my consent was the formality. My heart dropped. They knew another pregnancy could kill me. When I refused, my mother burst into tears. "How could you be so selfish? Rachel's dream has always been to be a mother." My father added, "After everything we've done for you, you owe us this." Everything they'd done? My grandparents saved my life, not them. My parents only made me feel like existing was a debt I could never repay. I walked out in tears. Ethan was furious when I told him. Furious that they'd rather risk my death than see Rachel live without a child. Days later, Rachel texted me, "I've always taken care of you. It's your turn to do something for me." I almost laughed. She never once drove me to school or stood up for me. Then my phone started blowing up. Cousins, aunts, uncles calling me cruel for refusing to help my dying sister. Rachel wasn't dying. She just couldn't conceive naturally. Ethan and I went straight to a lawyer. She was horrified. "They can't force you into surrogacy. That's reproductive coercion and it's illegal." We filed cease and desist letters and blocked harassment. Then, one night, my father texted, "We've given you no choice. There will be consequences." A week later, my grandmother called in tears. My parents were trying to get lawyers involved, claiming they could obtain a court order for medical evaluation. That's when we filed for a restraining order. It should have ended there, but the truth came out in the most unexpected way. Rachel's husband exposed everything in the family group chat. My parents had forged my medical records to make it look like my heart was stable enough for pregnancy. They falsified documents to get the fertility clinic to approve the procedure. The clinic immediately filed a fraud report and banned my family from any future services. Rachel's husband left her. "I can't stay married to someone who'd risk her sister's life," he wrote before leaving the chat. The relatives who'd called me selfish suddenly went quiet. My aunt from Denver even called to apologize. She had no idea about the lies. Now, my parents and Rachel might face legal charges for medical fraud. I didn't have to do anything but protect myself. They destroyed their own lives trying to control mine. For the first time, I finally understand. I never owed them anything, and I'm done paying with their guilt.